I left the lab again and ended up in Bali. So let me tell you how that happened. I saw this post from the Impatient Tourist. She has a blog and she has a Patreon, and I'm subscribed to both, where she's located in Canada, where she'll post flight deals and accommodation options to places at reasonable costs. And if your budget match it, then you can just choose it and go. So I always try to go somewhere for my birthday. And she posted this in 2024, and I didn't have anything planned for my birthday in 2025. And I hadn't gone to Bali, and I thought, why not? And so I went through what was in our blog post, and I looked at the options, and I decided Bali it is. I'm going to go through the blog posts for my trip from the Impatient Tourist blog. I wasn't starting from here though, and solo person because I'm solo. So I got it cheaper than this. So let's go to the first option to see what it looks like. So this is for the stay in Bali. And I saw this one and I was sold. It's in Ubud. And I saw these pictures, they look really lovely. Don't know if they were edited or anything, but I saw this and I was sold. It's not even about the food, it's just the location, the serenity of it. It was right up my alley. So I'll go to the next option. Option 2. And this one was at a hotel, and I did not end up staying 17 nights. I want to say 8 or 9. It was also gorgeous, but I'm more of a nature person. I wanted to see the photos. Yeah. So I'm more of a nature person. So the first one definitely, they all seem very naturey. And Impatient Tourist did make it all over the island, so one could stay at different places. But because I wasn't going to be there for very long, I decided on choosing just one location. But all the options were amazing. Let me show you the other option. She gave 5 options. So let's go to option 3. And these prices, ridiculous in a good way. This was also in my top 3 or whatever. I also like this one. So if I ever get back to Bali, I probably should stay here. But this one was also gorgeous. It's less about maybe the accommodation, like the amenities, but I really love how beautiful the surrounding is. So yeah, let's go to the 4th option. And what did this one? Oh, this was more of a hotel. This wasn't in my top, but it doesn't look terrible. It's just not what I was going for. And let's go to the final one. This also looked nice. I like the tree house. I like how it's just nestled in nature. So this was definitely in my top. And yeah, the one I chose, there must have been something about it that won, but I love this one as well. So okay, let's get back to the video and I'll walk through the immigration requirements and the things I did starting from Canada. Different places will have different requirements. So the price passed the check, the location passed the check. So next up was to check my birthday vacation piggy bank to see if the budget was there, and it was. And I quickly checked the immigration requirements for the Philippines because I had a layover there, as well as for Bali. And once that was done, and I realized it was going to be a difficult process for me, I quickly went and booked my ticket because that is very variable. The price is very variable. So one of the first things I do when I'm booking a trip, I always pay for the ticket early, as soon as possible, because that changes quickly. And I knew that if I waited until 2025 or even later in 2024, the price would go way up. Whereas with my accommodations, I could always reserve it and then pay for it much later on. The immigration requirements, so example, whether or not you need an e-visa, etc., which is available maybe upon landing, or you have to do it before will vary based on your country of residence. As you can see here, I didn't need a visa to enter into the Philippines, but you go to that website, you download the app, you sign up, etc., which makes going through customs when you land easy peasy. You just go to the kiosk with your barcode and boom, boom, bam, tutus, you're out. Unlike the Philippines, I was required to pay for a visa on arrival, valid for 30 days when I landed in Bali. And so I think it cost me maybe 50 Canadian dollars. It's probably less. Also had to do the declaration forms and some health forms, etc. In addition to the e-visa for Bali, if you're going to Bali, Ubud, because it's a cultural center, you have to pay a Bali tax or levy. And I think all small developing islands, SIDS, so like Jamaica, etc., should have one of these because the fee you pay, I think it's about 9 USD when I paid for it last year, and it helps to preserve the things that the tourist is going to enjoy. And I think that is a very good practice. And you just do the conversion and everything you pay online. So I like that. And I want to say that I did all the immigration requirements and paid for my tax as for Bali and the Philippines 3 to 2 days before my flight took off. I decided that I would try something new for my birthday instead of just going and doing a bunch of activity, that I would take myself to dinner and also get a massage on my actual birthday. So I looked to see what was available in Bali, and as I said, I'm a vibe person. So what the outside of it looks like, and less of a food person. And I decided on the Cyan house. Let's see if I can see the pictures of what I saw that won me over. It was overlooking a rice field, which is a big deal in Bali. And it was gorgeous. I'll have a video where there's more of that, but it was really gorgeous. The Cyan house also has a villa, but I did not stay at the villa, but it looks right up my alley. And as I said, I went to the restaurant and it was worth it. Like the view from the restaurant, I don't think they have any photos on this that will do it justice, but it was gorgeous. And so I booked it. I booked some other things before I went to Bali and the Philippines because of my layover, and then I did some while I was there. For my spa, I booked a lymphatic drainage, and I want to say it took 2 hours, and I've never gotten a 2 hour massage, and it was really good. And this was in the heart of Bali. It was very serene. And yeah, as I said, everything was just right up my alley, the serenity of it and everything. This is the one that I booked. And I'll have a video where I show that entire experience and stuff. But it was well worth it. And I think it was just under 50 Canadian dollars. I would do that very often if I lived in Bali and I was earning in CAD or USD. Because I had my 14-hour layover in Manila, I did not want to waste the time I had in the Philippines in an airport lounge or at a place sleeping or just chilling. I could have done that because it was a really long flight and I was tired. However, I didn't know if I would ever come back to that side of the Earth, I would say the planet. And I decided, you know what? Kill two birds with one stone. And I like sustainability, nature, and I loved history in high school. And I decided that I would do the historic colonial tour of Manila, which is in the heart of the city, with Intramus, that's the colonial part of the city, with bamboo bicycle. So they make the parts of the bicycle out of bamboo. They actually do it at the property. And this is ideal for groups as well as solo travelers. So I'll have the links for the different things in the description box. This is where I stayed. Well, I dropped my luggage and took a shower while I was layover in Manila. The young girls who were doing their internship there, they were really lovely and accommodating. I didn't see the bedroom because, as I said, it wasn't ready when I landed. I landed super early in the morning. However, it was nice. And the surrounding, I told them to put up a Jamaican flag because they didn't have one on the outside. So hopefully they did. But I also have the link for this. If you're ever in the Philippines, I would recommend them. I also booked this tour on Viator with Smile Bali, and it was a private tour, so the price will vary based on the number of people in your group. But because I was a solo person, so obviously everything is more expensive. But went to the monkey forest, jungle swing. There are several of them in Bali. The rice stars and the water temple. Several of these. Only one jungle forest, and I will, as I said, have videos for these different spots that I went to. But I booked it. I don't remember what it costs at the time, but I knew it was a bit pricey as a solo traveler. And I'll put the link in the description box. So if you're ever in Bali and you want to check it out, I definitely recommend using Smell Bali. So I've wrapped up the important bits of my trip. I still have had some last minute things to do. And after a long week in the lab, let me know if you'd catch a 13-hour flight across the world after a long week at work. And during your 14-hour layover, would you spend that time doing an exploration or going on an adventure instead of sleeping? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time as I take off for my layover in Manila. Ciao!